Hi, I'm experimenting with this idea of giving you short updates on what it means to write a book. Um, I guess around a year ago, Lou Rosenfeld and I, actually maybe even more, a year and a half ago now, Lou Rosenfeld and I were talking about me writing a book about research operations, which is something I've been working in for around about 10 years now. And in the last 2.5 years, I've been delivering research operations at a technology company at Atlassian. And so I said, yeah, sounds like a great idea. I really enjoy writing. I've been a writer in my career. I've been an editor in my career. Not always the best editor, I think, but I have done it. I've been a content strategist. I've been someone who produces radio documentary scripts and all sorts of wordy, creative things. So I figured, yeah, let's do this. And so I worked with Lou on a structure for the book, and we put together a contract, and I signed a contract to write a book on research operations for Rosenfeld Media and with Rosenfeld Media. And the working title is the Research Ops Handbook. I've kind of forgotten. Hold on. It's Advancing Research, the Research Ops Handbook. Anyway, so my journey has been that somewhere in my head I had this romantic idea that writing a book was something like writing 12 very extensive blog posts. I have to say I've discovered it's not that way at all. It is a intense and deep creative journey. It is really, I've never had children, but I expect this is something like giving birth. It is torturous at times. It is pleasant at others. It is confusing at some points. Some days you wake up and you feel like I'm going to nail this. I'm going to be great at this. Other days you just think, oh my gosh, I'm going to totally fail, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to start giving some daily updates on my journey in creating a book and what I've experienced and what I'm experiencing in writing a book. I will talk, I think, about what I'm thinking about in terms of research ops and also just the actual activity of writing. And I'm going to aim to try and keep these to like a few minutes or to like 5 minutes at the most. So the first thing I discovered is that it is not just about sitting at a laptop, or in my case at an iPad Pro, and just kind of spewing amazing words forth out of your brain. It certainly does not work that way for me, and speaking to many authors, it doesn't seem to work that way for them either. A lot of people now tell me that you kind of take many months to find your process and to try and understand how it is that your brain works. And even part of it is training your brain to be able to actually do this long form work, which we're in the age of Slack and Twitter and Medium, just our brains are not practiced at this kind of work. And so a lot of people I've spoken to who have written books or thesis have said now that for 3 to 6 months, a lot of the work was just practicing, writing. And then somewhere this magical thing happens that and many of them have used independently this word like a superpower. And so you come across a superpower where you're able to kind of now you're able to spew forth these amazing cogent chapters in one sitting, and it feels like a superpower. I have not reached that point yet. But what I am doing, and I'm going to see if I can switch this around, is what I'm doing. I'll show you my workspace here. I have got a little iPad Pro because we're moving house in 3 months, and then I'll be able to have like a proper setup. I now have a proper desk that I can sit at for my Atlassian work, but also for my writing in the early mornings, evenings, and weekends. Excuse me. And then what I do is I print everything out, and I've been sticking it onto these big foam core boards. And this is just kind of half of a chapter, and I start to kind of label things up. And what I'm finding is that during my meetings during the day, someone might mention something, and I throw it on a post-it note and quickly stick it up there. I'm also finding that I'm kind of moving onto my window here, and I've got a couple of other boards here that are potentially going to become other chapters. So this is what I'm doing. What I have found though is that once I've kind of written stuff out, so actually right at the beginning I started even on paper with a pen. I bought myself a beautiful fountain pen and some lovely Japanese paper. Started to just kind of free write, like I'm told this is like James Joyce style by my wonderful editor Marta. And then some of it was written on the iPad and I printed that out. Some of it was written on paper and I cut that out, stuck it all up on these boards and thought, this is cool. I've got the structure. I can look at these 10,000 words and try and make sense of it all and get it into an order where hopefully someone like you would be able to understand what I'm on about. And so then I went back onto the iPad and started writing again, only to find that I got to a point where I felt like, now's a really good time I'm kind of stuck. I'm going to print it all out again and put it back on the board. And so I'm finding that every time I get stuck, I will switch from one activity to the other, and it helps me to keep progressing and keep thinking about how I'm actually structuring this content, which at the moment is specifically about how you recruit participants for research, how you get people to take part in research. And I've even got that at the top of my board. You might be able to see there. There you go. People to take part in research. So that's a little insight into my process at the moment. I don't know if this is at all interesting to any of you, but I'm going to experiment with continuing to share how it's going, what I'm thinking about, and what I'm learning. Cheers.